are bold, you are fearless, you are radiant. It's time to unlock the diamond from within. BFF, we rise above, stronger together, we shine with love. Faith unshaken, hearts on fire, fearless souls, we're reaching high.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning back into the BFF Empowerment Podcast. I am your host, Blaque Diamond. And with me today, I have the privilege of speaking with best-selling author, Miss Debbie Weiss. Thank you for so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, ma'am. So tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am 62 years old, and I'm telling you that because I am at 62, find myself on, doing new and exciting things. I spent my life taking care of so many of my family members. I became a family caregiver when I was 17, and my dad, who was only 46, had a massive stroke and luckily survived, but
Hmm.
was permanently disabled. And my parents divorced, and I was his caregiver for the next 30 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
then I became a caregiver. Of course, when you have children, you're caregivers, but my oldest son was diagnosed on the autism spectrum when he was 2 and added many more diagnoses after that. And caring for a child with special needs is very different than a typical
Hmm.
child. And then later in life, I became my husband's caregiver as well. And
Wow.
at 50, I really found myself just exhausted, feeling sorry for myself, and burnt out, and
Hmm.
had, lived my whole adult life taking care of everyone else except for myself. And so
I know exactly how you feel.
I think so many women do, quite honestly.
Yes, yes. Because I myself have a son with autism. He's 7. And
Oh,
he does also have some umbrella conditions as well, outside of just the autism. He officially just was diagnosed in October of 2025, but I've known since he was 3. It
oh,
just took quite a bit of advocating and pushing for me to finally get him the diagnosis that I already knew was there.
yeah. And I mean, then you certainly know firsthand. It's like every second, all you're doing is thinking about your son or your child and what you can possibly do to help. And unfortunately, many times too, it does involve really advocating and sometimes fighting for what's best, when it comes
Hmm.
to in school and those types of things.
Yeah, I always felt like I had a lot of pushback because my son has had issues since he was born, since the day he was born. And so I've always found myself, having to tell the doctors this isn't right. This is it's not a just I'm a first time mom jitters and oh, I see everything wrong. There's something wrong with him. This is not the typical behaviors and I just felt like it fell on deaf ears. And of course,
Mm.
me being a blind mom at that, I felt like they just really didn't consider that I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever. But
Uh,
finally, I had someone who actually listened to me and was like, you are so right, and you've been right all along.
mm,
And I'm sorry it took this long, 3 years, for you to
yeah.
finally test after test after test, and finally, yes, you have the proper diagnosis.
My goodness. And it took I obviously so much advocating
Hmm.
and researching and who do you go to next and who can help, and it really is it turns into a full-time job, especially at the age that your son is. I remember
Hmm.
being in it, knee deep.
And it was like he just switched. It was like he was a neurotypical kid, up until 3, which he had some earlier challenges with walking, being a late walker due to being severely bow-legged and needing braces and physical therapy and all of that. But
Yeah.
it was like he went one day from speaking in complete sentences to all of a sudden he developed a really bad stutter. And I'm like, what? What
Wow.
happened? Like and
Yeah.
it's like from then on, it's like he became a totally different child. And I'm like, what happened? It was like a
Yeah.
switch just went off.
Oh boy. Yeah, for my son, he that didn't happen. He wasn't talking or saying a word when he was um I guess what you're supposed to say your first word somewhere around a year old. And I
Hmm.
think he was, oh, maybe 2 and hadn't said anything yet.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's how it developed. He never was speaking in complete sentences until he started therapy and whatnot. And I
Hmm.
have to tell you, so now he's 25
Hmm.
and he's added other mental illness diagnoses such as depression and anxiety, bipolar 2 disorder, ADHD.
Hmm.
And so that has been a different type of challenge.
Yeah.
It just like they say, little kids, little problems, bigger kids,
Big
bigger
kids, big
problems.
problems.
Exactly,
Yes. And
exactly.
people don't realize that autism, usually that's the major diagnosis, but then there's those umbrella diagnoses. So a
Yes.
lot of times kids who do have autism also have other conditions. So I call them umbrella, like they're kind of
Yeah.
under. Because like my son, he's also being diagnosed with ADHD, ODD, and
Mm,
separation anxiety disorder.
yeah.
And he also has a PDA profile.
Yeah. It's a lot.
And he's a little person full of personality and yeah, some days they're very hard. And then there's those days of I'm like, wow, I can't believe I love this little person. He's just so much personality. But those hard days, they're hard. And I can't even say hard days, hard moments, because one moment we could be laughing and having fun, and then the next moment he's angry. And I'm like,
Exactly.
what
Which
happened? Like we were just having fun. What happened? Right. So we've talked a little bit about our children with autism. And so, what exactly is your book about?
So I have 2 books. My first book is my memoir called On Second Thought, Maybe I Can.
Mhm.
And never in my wildest dreams, as I said early on, how I how I wound up here is a mystery and a blessing. It's unbelievable. Never had a desire to write a book, but just kind of listened to the whispers of the universe, and that's where it
Hmm.
led me. And so it is a memoir. It is divided into 3 parts, and it talks about my childhood and how I developed my limiting beliefs, and then kind of, the middle part of my life with many different challenges. And then the third part is an aha moment that I had when I turned 50 and what I've been doing since then. So it's just a compilation of stories that together create an inspirational overall story showing everyone that it's never too late to change and take control of your life.
Definitely, because people are afraid of the big 50. They feel like when they turn 50, oh gosh, life as I know it is over. I'm over the hill. Like
Yep.
I just don't want to turn 50. Like, you hear people say that all the time. And I actually had a guest a few months ago by the name of Tina Coleman. And oh my gosh, she really made me think about turning 50 like in a whole new light. Like she was just so bold and empowering. And I'm just like, oh wow, you know what? I have had that fear of turning 50. I mean, I'm not there yet.
Yep.
Quite some
Yep.
ways to go. But yeah, you just always hear a negative, and that's just that overwhelming like just anxiety about turning 50, like life for you is just over.
Well,
But yeah, it's actually a thing to celebrate. instead of being
Exactly.
afraid of it.
Yeah, I for sure found it just the opposite. When I turned 50, like you said, it is something about that number. And I agree. For me, it was something about like 50. Man, how the heck could I be 50? Where did all those years go? And thinking and watching my father and my mother, who both, my mother's still alive, but both have so many regrets. And when I turned 50, I thought, 50 years has flown by in one sense, dragged in another sense, but flown by. And the next 50 are going to go by even faster. And I
Mhm.
don't want to be that person at the end of their life looking back with regrets of things that, coulda, shoulda, woulda. I wish I would have tried this. But I didn't have a specific wish. Like I never wanted to be an author or a musician or, I didn't know what it
Mhm.
was, but I just felt like if I just stayed where I was, then nothing was ever going to change and I would never know what else is
Exactly.
out there, what other possibilities. And it really forced me to take a hard look at my life and decide that I needed to make some changes.
Mhm. Oh wow. And that's actually the opposite. I've been wanting, that was actually a childhood dream of mine, is to become an author. So now I've been an author 15 times over.
Woo,
So
amazing.
I've self-published 15 books to date and have
Wow.
more in the works. But yeah, that's always been a childhood dream, was to be an author. Now, I wrote my first memoir. I've always been more like a fictional writer, poetry, things like that, and
Mm,
children's literature. But I actually wrote, actually, this month is actually a year since I published my first memoir. It's called Stolen Innocence: A Survivor's Journey to Freedom. And it basically is my life story, about part of it about me becoming blind and how I became blind due to child abuse. But majority of the story is my experience with being a survivor of sexual abuse, but not only just sexual abuse, but sexual abuse due to incest,
mm.
from my own biological father. And then also just how my early life kind of led me into always feeling like a victim of trauma, some kind of trauma, domestic violence, relationships, just things always just not going right for me. Like it always
Yeah,
feeling like I'm a victim, and how I have to change my own story and rewrite my own story and not allow the traumas that I went through to write my story.
absolutely. How did that happen? Did you have an aha moment? What made you say, realize? Because I didn't even know that I had this victim mentality. I had never heard of that. I didn't know what that even meant. How did,
So for me, because I finally, well, the aha moment for me, honestly, was me contemplating murder. That's what
okay,
I knew
that
I
makes
had
sense.
to get out. Like I had that mentality that it was either I was going to end up in jail or he was going to kill me.
Yeah,
So at 24 years old, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I have to get out. I have to leave. And so that's what I did. But that healing journey took years. Like I
yeah,
did a
of
lot of
course.
self-work, a lot of, spiritual awakening, a lot of spiritual guidance, and it took a while for me to overcome and to see myself as a victor, not a victim anymore. And so when I ended up in my second domestic violence relationship at 33 years old, I was like, oh no, I've been down this road before. I know where this is going to lead. Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm out. And
Good
I'm
for
like, at
you.
the end of the day, I have a son too, and he's looking. So all it took was one time for, my
Yeah,
ex-spouse to put his hands on me, and I was out. Like, I'm not that 19-year-old naive little girl anymore who's
yeah.
searching for love and don't really know what it is because she's never experienced it. Like I love myself too much to allow myself to go through that again.
Mm, good for you. That's an amazing story, and you certainly are a victor.
Yes.
Mm,
So that was for me, that was the aha moment. Like I need to change, my life and do something different. Put myself in a better environment to where, yeah, I can heal so
yeah.
that when something else happens, I know how to handle it. I don't fall victim to, because, for me, that's all I knew. I went from being abused from the time I was born to what, 15 years old when I went blind. That's what
Mm,
stopped the abuse.
wow.
That's when my mom knew, okay, I took it too far. But then from that to be put in a situation where she sent me to live with someone I did not know. I knew him as far as, okay, this is my dad, but he was not in my life. He did not raise me. He wasn't there.
Okay.
To be sent to live with somebody that my mother knew would abuse me sexually.
Yeah.
Um, and then from that to end up in my first relationship, what ends up being domestic violence, because what? That's
Hmm.
all I knew.
Mm, wow. I think that so many people in your position, they can't figure a way out.
Hmm.
It's right. It's so hard to just take that first step.
Yes, because yeah, I was in that relationship for 5 years.
Yeah.
At one point, I attempted to leave, and then he found out, and then, scared me into staying, basically.
Yeah.
But when it got to the point where I was contemplating and realizing where my life would end up if I
Yeah.
didn't take a hold of this situation and get control of it, I'm like, no, I can't do that. I can't allow someone to make me do something that's outside of me.
Yes. And you've done it.
Hmm. So yeah, that for me was my aha moment.
Mm. That's quite a powerful story, I have to
Yes,
say.
ma'am.
Really unbelievable. And, I think each of us has our own challenges and traumas, some bigger than others, some happen at
Hmm.
different times in life. And I don't know about you, but I was always looking at everybody else's life, from the outside looking in,
Hmm.
thinking that everything was perfect. And why me? Why did I have all these challenges from such a young age?
Hmm.
And it's amazing when you are able to switch your mindset, when you are able to see that you're the one that's really causing you to stay in a situation or a life or whatever it is that you no longer desire. And I'm not saying it's not like I left my husband and like I didn't do anything like that. It not
Hmm.
necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be big traumas like you had.
Yes.
And I think, you know what? That was one of the things that before I wrote my first book that kind of gave me imposter syndrome because I thought, yeah, I've had little t traumas, as they say, just like most people, but I've never had, thankfully, a big, big trauma.
Hmm.
So why is my story relatable? And then I realized that, you know, there's so many people, thankfully, who haven't experienced the type of trauma that you have, but
Hmm.
still feel maybe a longing or feeling stuck or thinking, when is it my turn? And, those were the people that I could reach.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't measure someone else's experience based off yours. We're all individuals. We all, somebody who's been through the same things that I have may not respond the same way I did, because we're
Sure.
all individuals and we're responsible for our own reactions and actions to things. So, because most people who have been through all the things I've been through, more than likely they would have turned to sex, drugs,
Yes,
alcohol, these things. I made that choice not to.
exactly. I think you're the exception.
Hmm. Definitely. Definitely the exception. But it was a choice that, not saying that there wasn't times where I doubted my abilities or I doubted, because yeah, I'm also Um, I attempted suicide not once but twice, but I
Mm,
survived both times. And so that's just a testament to, yeah, my journey has not been easy.
Yes,
You know, but I am continuing and I have made that choice to keep going despite.
exactly. And I think that's what we have to do, right? I mean,
Hmm.
because what's the alternative? Wouldn't you rather have said that you gave it a try or
Hmm.
explored different possibilities? It's so easy to just stick with what you know, even if what you know isn't good.
Exactly.
It's
And a
like the
lot of
devil
times
you
when
know kind
people,
of thing.
yes, and a lot of times when people meet me, you know, they're like, "Oh, you're just so soft-spoken. You're just so," because I look really young, younger than my age. So they were like, "Oh, you just look like life has been good to you." And I'm like, "If you only knew." Don't let the baby face fool you.
Uh, uh,
I'm just glad I don't look like what I've been through because I would be a
yeah.
hot mess.
Uh,
But no, don't be. And so a lot of times when people hear my story and my journey, I'm like, oh wow, like I would have never, just from looking at you, I would have never guessed you've been through all of that.
yeah. And that's because of all the work you've done.
It's intentional.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
intentional to keep going and keep, so when I go to speaking events and when I go, to different activities and things that I'm involved in, like when people hear, they're like, "Oh wow, like I can't believe it."
Yes. Yes. Well, and that's why you give the people hope
Hmm. And
because
that's
if you
why
can do it,
BFF
so
Empowerment
can.
is here.
That's it. I love it.
That's what this platform is for, to share stories, your experience, because you never know who's listening. You never
Yes.
know who needed to hear your story to realize, like, you know what? There is a way out of this. There is a way I can go on. There is a way that I can heal. Or,
Yes.
they might just need that motivation hearing that someone else has been through that and this is how they came out of it.
Exactly. I actually belong to a women's networking organization. It's called BW Nice. That's an acronym that stands for Business Women Networking Involved in Charity and Education.
Hmm.
And it is, a small business women's networking organization, but more so, what makes it different is that each chapter of this organization supports their local domestic violence charity partner.
Hmm. Ooh.
And so we have fundraisers and we have the director come to each of our meetings and give us an update. And the updates with domestic and sexual violence, it's just the safe houses are always full.
Hmm.
There, it just is not, it's growing, unfortunately, instead of going the other
Yes,
way. And
exactly.
it's a great organization because such a nice thing to come together with other women and work together for a common cause.
It is definitely something that's near and dear to my heart, speaking to domestic violence survivors and also children of abuse, because
Yes.
those are things that I can relate to, I've been through. So, I'm actually a pageant title holder. And so actually that's what I've been working on for the last like week or two, sending out messages to different organizations here locally where I live.
Hmm.
Just inviting them to, allow me to come and share my story with their women and their survivors, and just to help them see that there are, people who come through this on the other side, and that there
Exactly.
is a way out if they really want a way out. Um, so I'm looking forward to that because I've done a lot of that, but once COVID came and all of that, I kind of stopped doing a lot of that. So I want to get back into going to the different shelters and things like that. I never actually ended up in like a shelter per
Okay.
se,
Yep.
after that situation, but I've been homeless before, so I know what that's like.
Yes.
Um, so I just want to be that beacon of hope to show that, despite everything, especially somebody myself who's disabled and I went through
Yes.
all of this and came out of it. So I just want them to see that you can survive. Like there is reason to keep living.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing better than someone who has been where someone else has been and, like you said, made it out or made it to the other side.
Yes. Because it's not easy, and people may say, "Oh, you need to leave," and it's not as easy as you think. It's especially if you're on the outside looking in. You don't
Yes.
know what that person is going through on a daily basis. You just don't. It's just not easy to just walk off and leave. Like for me, I had to sneak. It wasn't like I just, you know what, I'm out of here. I'm gone.
Right.
Like I literally had to plan and prep and pack and sneak and get other people involved to help me to orchestrate me getting out of here because I already knew what happened the first time when I even mentioned that, we should separate and just this is not working. He made it seem like, oh, he was all for it and you know what, it's not working. And it's like then all of a sudden he thought about it and a switch just like and then it oh no, you're not leaving me, yada yada yada. So I'm like, okay, this, I gotta do this very, very quietly and very, very secret. And I was so nervous, like the
Yeah.
just the anxiety, the oh, what if he finds out? And it was a lot. And even with
Yes.
my second situation, I had to do the same thing.
Mm.
And at that time, I moved to the another state to be with this person. So I knew absolutely no one there. It was just me and my son.
Mm. Oh my goodness.
And I
So
took the
scary.
last $200 I had to my name to pay for this person to come and get me and bring me back.
Wow.
So it was
Wow.
a lot of constant, anxiety and when I was going through the most of it, I never had therapy. I did all the self work myself. But after I left that second situation, I was like, I need to talk to somebody. I
Yeah.
can do all the work I can do myself, but I'm not a professional. Like I
It,
need to sit and talk to someone because all of this trauma is
yeah.
not good.
No, it's a lot. It's so much.
And I didn't even realize throughout all of these things I've been through that I have PTSD until she told me. And I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
I've always heard of, PTSD being related to people coming from war and things like
Right.
I never knew that just surviving traumatic experiences like this could also cause you to have PTSD. So that was something I learned during my therapy and talking to someone. I'm like, "Oh wow."
Yeah. Yeah. We're not meant to live through that trauma. I mean,
Mm-mm.
so yeah, it's just I hope that anyone listening who's either in your position or even in a position where they want change but can't imagine how,
Hmm.
that they're inspired to know that regardless of what your circumstances are, there's always a choice that you can make to,
Yes,
you know, do something to improve your life.
definitely. And so you did mention that you also wrote another book. What is
Yes.
your second book about?
So after I came out with the first book, there's no self-help component or anything. It is just a straight stories, about 30 stories, sequenced together. People were saying, well, that's really nice that at 50 you had an aha moment and then started to change your life. What did you do? And so that's kind of where my second book, and like I said, I never thought I'd write a first book, let alone a second book.
Hmm.
And so it's called The Sprinkle Effect. And
Hmm.
picture rainbow sprinkles because rainbow sprinkles make me happy on my favorite food, which is ice cream. And
And they're
so
small.
I liked the whole idea of, a visual of something like that that's bright and upbeat. And so the book is composed of 15 different what I call sprinkles that you need to examine and sprinkle into your life. And it's things like a sprinkle of belief, of mindset, of responsibility, courage, resilience, curiosity, joy, those types of things. And
Hmm.
so it's kind of still a little bit part memoir because in each sprinkle, I, talk about a story that relates to myself and that sprinkle. But the
Hmm.
thing that really differentiates this is a book that is there to help you do the quote unquote work, to
Yes.
help you start to examine yourself and your life. And when I first started reading, quote unquote self-help books, and they would say, answer this journal prompt or, whatever the activity was, I was like, well, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to skip that and I'm going to just keep reading and maybe I'll come back to that. But of course, I never did.
Hmm.
But over the years, what I learned is that's not helpful because even though you might enjoy the book and think, oh, yeah, that's a really good idea. Oh, I should try and do that. You don't. And then you put the book on a shelf and it just sits there. And
Hmm.
so I actually created a workbook to go along with the book to have one place to answer all the activities and the journal prompts that I have in the book in one place because just reading a book is not going to make the change. It's you taking the action. And the whole idea is to start to examine. You could be having thoughts you don't even know that you're having.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you don't realize that there's things that are holding you back. You, your story, obviously, it's pretty clear of,
Hmm.
the things that you've lived through that were difficult. But for somebody else, maybe that's not the case. You don't know. You don't realize how things that happened in your childhood, not big traumas like this, it could just be how your parents felt about money or
Or
where
having
you
a
live
girl
or
instead of a
like,
boy
all
or
of those
something.
things. And you've
Hmm.
got to start to really look within. And
Hmm.
so that's where the second book and the workbook comes from.
Yeah, because I can only imagine, like, especially I know in different cultures, like, it's more, uh, I guess, acceptable to have a boy child over a girl child, or, things like that. And you don't realize how sometimes knowing things like that, if you were born a girl and your parents wanted a boy all this time, like
Mm.
how that can cause you to have self-limiting beliefs about yourself, like you're not good enough because you weren't a boy, or
Yes.
it doesn't always have to be trauma, type of situations where, yeah, you develop limiting beliefs about yourself.
Exactly. And like you said, you did the work on your own before you went to
Mhm.
a therapist, but y- you've got to do it because otherwise you don't even realize. I mean, I was blown away when I started journaling, which, you said you've always dreamt of being a writer. As I said, I never had any, not even like 1% desire to be a writer. That's how, and like opening up a notebook with a blank page without being given directions for homework or what I'm supposed to be writing gave me incredible anxiety. But when I kind of said, okay, let me just try this, because I actually had listened to a podcast about the benefits of free form journaling, and the woman said, if you don't know what to write, start writing. I don't know what to write. And just keep repeating that. And then you'll be amazed at what you then start writing.
Hmm.
Because if you allow it, and it seems ridiculous to me, but it does work. Your mind, when you're writing, takes you to these places and topics and things that you didn't even know were on your brain.
Yes.
And I find it just so helpful to either work out a decision or uh, pretty much do anything.
Hmm.
It's really been a unbelievable tool. And the funny thing is that so many of the things that I do now, I meditate. Which when I first started that, oh my gosh, I couldn't stand it. I thought, this is crazy. Who can do this?
Yeah, I used to always fall asleep
Uh,
when I was
uh,
meditating.
I didn't fall
I,
asleep. I like had anxiety. I didn't want my eyes closed. What am I supposed to be doing? It's like the same thing with the journaling. What am I supposed to be thinking? This is crazy. But if I think I don't know about you, but I was so closed off to so many things. Anything out of my comfort zone, it'd be like,
Mhm.
no, I don't do that. Or oh no, that's not for me.
Yes.
And the minute that I stopped that, and my memoir is called On Second Thought, Maybe I Can. And it kind of comes from this in that whenever I was presented anything, and it didn't have to be something like spiritual like that. It could
Hmm.
be, oh, I have a friend who wanted to teach me how to knit. You want to learn how to knit? Oh, no, I don't knit. I don't do crafts. I'm not
Hmm.
artsy. It could be something really benign. And my first instinct was always to say no
Nope, I don't do
because
that.
it's something new. What if I fail? But the
Hmm.
minute that you kind of take a beat, maybe my first thought is to say no. But then if you give it time, it's like, well, why not? Why can't I try this? Maybe it will
Hmm.
work out and maybe it won't, but I'll feel good because I gave it a shot instead of staying in my safe little bubble. And
Exactly.
yeah, the things I've discovered, through pushing through my fear of doing or trying something new, I've discovered things about myself I never even knew existed.
Exactly. That's actually what led me to participate in my first pageant, you know, because
Mm,
when I would see, I'm like, oh no, I'm not a pageant girl. That's not me. Like, I'm just, yeah, whatever. Like, and so I would
yeah,
ignore it whenever I would see it. And then something last year was just like, I saw it again, and I'm like, you know what? Why not?
why not?
Let's do it.
Exactly.
And so I stayed up to like midnight that night, filling out my application, submitting my headshot. I'm like, you know what? All they can say is no.
That's it.
And like a week later, I got a phone call. You've been selected. I'm like, what?
Ah,
For real? Like me?
ah,
And so I participated and I came home a title holder. And
woohoo!
so I'm like, yeah, I just took that chance on myself and was like, you know what? This is outside of my norm. This is outside of my comfort zone, but let me do something different that I'm not used to. And I
Yeah,
had a great experience and it was really empowering. It was really like just to be on that stage performing and answering those questions. And it was just like, wow, like
yeah,
I did this.
exactly. And then that gives you confidence to do the next thing and the next
Yeah, I'm
thing.
actually looking at others once my reign is over. Now I'm actually kind of getting into like, I think I
Wow.
kind of like this.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I love that.
So yeah, my title was Miss Altruistic 2025. So
Mhm.
basically it's all about community service because that's me. That's who I am. I love
Yes.
helping. I love children. I love people. I love giving back. So that's who I am.
Oh, what a wonderful title. Congratulations,
Thank you.
Queen.
Yes. And actually, April 8th is International Pageant Day. So
Oh,
my episode for Wednesday is an interview with my Queen of Courts.
oh, I love.
To celebrate International Pageant Day and to actually, share our stories and why because it was all of our first times.
Yeah. Oh,
What made us decide to, this time do it,
yeah.
and just the things that we do. And so I think it's really going to be a good episode.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
All right. So is there anything else you would like to share? Any other topics you would like to talk about?
I don't think so unless we've left something out.
So I do definitely want you to list your titles again and where they can be found. If you have like any websites, social media, anything where you would like listeners to be able to reach out to you.
Sure. I think the best place, I do have all the things that you just mentioned, but instead of rattling it off, if you just visit my website at debbier.weiss.com, you have to put the R in.
Okay.
There's links to my social and my books, and I have journals and a card deck and some freebies on there and all the things. So that's the best place.
Sounds good. And what was the name of the network again that you mentioned?
Oh, BW Nice.
BW Nice. Okay.
Yeah. There, what state are you in?
I am in North Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm in New Jersey, and right now there are chapters in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Niagara Falls. Like we have some in different spots where, women learned of the organization or learned here and then relocated to a different area and started it there. The founder's
Mhm.
amazing. So I should actually hook you
That's
guys
actually
up.
where I won my pageant in your state. That's where I'll be coming back
Oh,
to at the end of April.
oh, nice.
Yes. Alrighty, so we have come to my favorite part of the show where we play What is she thinking? So I'll give you five random phrases. You'll tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. You don't have to think too hard about it. Just something fun to get to know you after a great conversation.
Okay.
What is she thinking? What are her thoughts? Quick, fast, no blinking. What do you got?
All right, so your first one is drum line. Let's see. I normally have them written down, so I'm going off the top of my head right now. Um, chocolate and strawberries are
Yummy.
yummy.
Uh, uh.
All right. So writing can be
Hard and therapeutic.
yes. Yeah, that's what actually encouraged me to write when I was a child because it was very therapeutic.
I'm
So that's what
sure.
started my writing journey. It was writing
Mm,
through what I was going through.
yeah, that's a great tool.
Yes. All right, so your next one. Being a mom makes me
Proud.
proud. Yes, love it. All right. If there is one thing I could tell my younger self, it would be.
You have the responsibility to take control of your life.
All right. And your last one. Give me coffee with my.
No coffee.
Same for
Diet
me.
Coke, McDonald's Diet Coke, baby.
Yeah, I
That's
do
where
not
I'm
like
headed as soon as
coffee.
we're done.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for listening. Be sure to check out our website at bffempowermentpodcast.com to stay up to date with the latest and greatest on what's happening with the podcast. You can also follow us on social media. We are BFF Empowerment Podcast on Threads, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, if you would like to be a spotlight on the Women on the Rise segment of the BFF Empowerment Podcast, send an interest email to bffempowerment@gmail.com. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave a review or a rating on your favorite podcast platform of choice to help other women discover their next favorite women's empowerment podcast. And until next time, guys, thank you so much for listening.